The Sooners are still looking for a defensive coordinator, and we've got some transfer portal stuff with some players back. We'll talk about that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. I'm your host, Jay. That is, of course, Coop right there. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to while you're here. Please wipe your feet, like, subscribe, rate, review, give us those 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, on today's episode, me and Coop bringing it back for you all. We're going to talk about the DC rumors and also the returning players, and is one more coming back? Also, we'll talk about the transfer portal and kind of give our thoughts about how this team looks right now. So, Coop, happy Sunday, my guy. How are you feeling today?
It's cold outside, Jay. It is absolutely cold. We got a little snow happening here in Tulsa, a little flurry action, and so it finally feels like winter. A couple days after Thanksgiving and Christmas have already gone by, and so yeah, it feels like winter.
I love that. I feel the exact same way. And Lemon, you're asking a question. Always YouTube. Watch it on YouTube. So much better for us. Let's go ahead and cut that off. So yeah, it's getting cold here too. Like, I went outside. I had to go get some milk so we could make some breakfast this morning. And I was like, oh snap, the heck this come from? It is wintertime, folks. Shout out to our partners over there at BetUS. They are hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. Coop, we got a lot of fun. We basically gonna be kicking it today, man. We're in the off season. It's a lot of transfer portal stuff, but I think honestly the biggest thing right now is who the hell is going to be our defensive coordinator? So I put out a video earlier to kind of talk about it a little bit, just kind of my thoughts around the biggest rumor that's floating, which is Wes Goodwin over there at Clemson. Now, Pete Nakos last night, Pete Thamel this morning from ESPN. Nakos is on 3. They both basically reported that Wes has been informed by Clemson that he will not be the defensive coordinator next season. And there's potential for him to come back as an analyst, which is the previous role he had when Brent Venables was there. A lot of people have voiced that there's been a combination. There's been a mix on it. Some fans like the idea. Some fans don't. I'm still on the fence both ways. I'm right there in the middle because I can see the value of one way or the other. But I also can see us really taking a look at other defensive coordinator options. So, Coop, first off, Wes Goodwin, they haven't officially put out a statement yet, which won't happen until tomorrow. It will happen tomorrow. Tomorrow they will inform the world via press release that Wes Goodwin will not be retained a defensive coordinator. What do you think? Do you think that makes sense for Brent Venables in Oklahoma to do that?
Well, you look at like what is the story? What is the public story? What is the behind the scenes story? And Clemson has been a team that has been very, very blessed in the defensive category for probably 10 years now, and whatever's going on, they don't have the desire to keep him around anymore. Whether it was a difference in opinions, difference in scheme, whatever it ends up being, it's they have gone different ways. And Dabo and Clemson, they do stuff differently, and that's why you see it the same way here. And so I just think that there is going to be a world to where this is a separation, because of most likely ideology. And if Brent Venables wants to bring him back, it's kind of the world where Brent did a lot of good things with him, and he is young and impressionable, and Brent can kind of run stuff and trust somebody. So if Brent brings Wes Goodwin on, it is what he wanted. And I would not get too tied up in the how he left Clemson's situation, just because I don't think that it's necessarily him performing up the standards for the Clemson way. They're looking for Brent Venables 2.0, and they thought maybe that was the route for it. And so if he does end up here, I think that there's some good opportunity. If he does not end up here and we look somewhere else, I think there's good opportunity. Everybody, I would say this as a fan, Brent Venables has to go all in 25, and he's going to. And if that's the case, you trust in it. If he goes somewhere different, you got to trust in that too, because I think Brent Venables is going to want to see his defense perform, comparable to this year in 25.
No, I totally agree with you there, and it makes a lot of sense for the argument I made before, Coop, for Wes Goodwin is just as you said, and actually mentioned here in the comments by Bagman. He wishes that BV and OU had fought to get him before, harder to get him here in the first place, year one. The problem is that he got the opportunity to be the defensive coordinator. So he got the opportunity to be the guy in charge, which is, I think, why Oklahoma couldn't have won his services here on that. Now, granted, you could have probably made him the defensive coordinator, but it's still kind of similar to the Zach Alley situation of you're kind of DC in title only because everybody's going to give props to BV because it's his defense. We can't, pretend like it's not. Brandon Hall runs similar setup as BV. They're tight. So to me, I get that part. And you made a good point there, Coop, with don't get hung up on how he left Clemson. We just realized that he can't do it by himself. He's better as a committee guy, as a guy that works with the main dude. Now, granted, his recruiting, especially as a secondary on the defensive line, has done very well. But the only linebacker he's really landed has been Sammy Brown.
Sammy Brown.
But did he really land Sammy Brown? Or did the Clemson circumstances land Sammy Brown? And I ask that genuinely because I don't know. That is where my question has come in with that.
You never know. It's one of those situations where, like, does it matter? Does it really? You get a guy on campus, like that's the goal, right? Whoever ends up getting him on, if it's a running back recruiter, we've always talked about, trying to put, Emmett Jones on certain situations because we felt like he was a strong recruiter. So if Emmett Jones brings in a D tackle, whatever, it is what it is. And so it's the end game is how does it perform on the field? Like, does your defense get better? Does your defense, continue to be a strong, performer? I remember looking at the Georgia game, Clemson game at the beginning of the year. Through the first half, it looked like a defensive battle, and it just looked like Clemson just barely had enough more on offense to do something. And we've seen, or I guess Georgia, that is, and we've seen that kind of go on and off with Georgia all year. What is Georgia? Because they didn't seem like that dominant Georgia, right. Clemson held them down pretty well early in the season. And a lot of teams seem to have done that throughout the year too. So it's the guy's got some name with him. He with Brent Venables. I know a lot of people have said it's okay, let Brent run the defense. That's what he does best. So if that's the case, but Brent still has to coach a team too. So right. If Wes Goodwin can come in and take care of the defense to a capability that allows Brent to focus on the entire team still have a little bit of a hand on defense, that's good. The first go round, these guys want to be able to prove themselves, say who they are, who they can be. And sometimes, you just don't have the Jimmies and Joes. And I know that was the Oklahoma Breakdown's take, was that Clemson hasn't had the Jimmies and Joes here over the past couple of years that they'd had before. And, when you bring over Chavis and Bates and Brent Venables, all from the same team, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. And let's just be honest. BV not also taking in the portal. A lot of young guys were playing. Sammy Brown was freshman All-American. So does that mean that he's just really that good and he was going to be there one way or the other? Didn't matter who the defensive coordinator was. Didn't matter who the linebackers coach was. We don't know that. So with all that being said, this is still going on. We'll probably hear a lot more of this in the next couple days, and people are gonna have opinions for, people are gonna have opinions against. It's going to have to be what happens on the field. And so does Brent Venables think that this move is one that's going to allow him in 2025 to do something special? If so, he'll probably be on the Oklahoma staff. If it's a situation where he wants to go somewhere else, Jay, if you look at the offensive coordinator, recruitment and, kind of efforts this year, everybody wanted Dan Mullen. Where is he at? Everybody wanted, a couple of other guys. Those guys stayed where they're at. Indiana, we were really, really big on let's see what happens the last 2 games of the season for Indiana before we really, really decide that offense is legit or not, and it looked a certain way. You look at Arbuckle, he's the one that we went with, but you look at Joe Craddock. Joe Craddock may be the worst interviewer in the world, it looks like, because it just didn't look really, really pretty. And so you never know, because a lot of guys were interviewing for, spot here, spot other places. And I feel like Oklahoma got the best opportunity in front of them with Mateer and with Arbuckle coming here. So defensively, you just let it roll. If this is what Brent Venables decides on, this is going to be part of his future going forward, one way or the other, whether it's for good, whether it's for bad.
Yeah, so with Sammy, his dad is currently an offensive assistant, I think assistant offensive line coach there at Clemson. So I know a lot of people mention Sammy Brown. I don't see him coming here at all. I wouldn't even consider him coming here. Lemon, this is a great question. Does the DC come down to who we think is going to be a better recruiter? Yes. That is literally my thought process when it comes to who they should pick as a DC. Someone that can recruit. Because, no shade, but Roof brought in some pretty solid players. Allie didn't bring in anyone. At all. 0. And to me, Wes has the only top 300 player that he landed was Sammy Brown. The other linebackers were under 300.
Right outside. Yeah.
So, since that is the case, for me, I would prefer somebody that recruits well. But there's a good question also asked in here from T. What's good, T? What defensive DCs are y'all hearing about besides Goodwin? Names I've heard thrown out there, but no confirmation that there's been any interviews. Have been what's that? Zach Arnett. But he just took the job at UNLV. Literally like less than 2 weeks ago. We'll say about 2 weeks ago. It was in December. He took the job at UNLV. So I don't know what that would look like as far as trying to quickly buy him out, or if there is a clause he can get out within 30 days. That one will be, I think that will be a solid pickup because he runs a similar defense and he's a really solid recruiter. I've seen some of his linebackers at Mississippi State were actually pretty good. I would like Brandon Hall to take it, but since it's been dragging on, it don't sound like he's going to take it. No. As long as the longer this drags out, tells me more and more that Brandon Hall's like, nah, I like being a position coach. I can help prepare that way a lot better. I respect it. Not all coaches. He's been a DC before, so he knows. Some coaches get to the point in which his safety room is pretty good. I like our safeties that we have there.
Very much.
So I'm not complaining anything about Brandon Hall. The question is what else is out there available? I'm still not sold on it being West. I just got to wait for it to actually happen because we haven't seen any move. I guess if Oklahoma decides to wait until he gets fired because they expect him to get fired and then hire him afterwards to eliminate a buyout, it's not a bad idea. No, that's actually kind of smart. You want to be smart strategically when it comes to financially doing that. I guess I'm still trying to figure out who else. I would like the idea of Brian Odom. I think Oklahoma Breakdown mentioned him too.
Yeah.
The former linebacker coach who went to USC. He followed Lincoln because I think in an interview he mentioned he wasn't sure if the new regime would retain him. So he went ahead and just took the job that he knew was guaranteed. Smart. But he also is the one that brought us Kip and Kobe and Stutzman. So I wouldn't argue with him coming back and then just BV running the defense himself, because I know he can recruit. But to me, it's really having recruiting. How much do you weigh recruiting in this situation?
Well, it's got to be. It still is the foundation of your football team is the good recruiting. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, we haven't seen anybody go pure transfer portal and be able to put together, something that's going to be competitive, out there. And so you've got to be able to have a little bit of a mix between the recruiting high school players and, also being able to have some clout with your name from the transfer portal, because, there's not a lot of discounts out there for, I'm going to go play for a great linebackers coach. It's the NIL. It's where can I get, a lot of these guys in the transfer portal, they're going for the biggest payday. Is that the fact that they do not believe in themselves? Is that the fact that they want the quickest and easiest right now? I'm not sure. Because we still need to see this thing play out for a few more years, because, is there going to be a balance when it comes to all of that? Is, if you don't handle these things the way that you're supposed to, you're not going to be here anyway.
Right.
And so, like, how does that affect? Because, on some, like, look at their offensive line right now. Is we got a couple of extra players that can kind of help out, but do you turn into the high school recruiting and just depend on the 24 class and 25 class to put something together on the offensive line this year? You just saw the on-3 accolades for Michael Fasusi, just further proof that the dude is legitimate and he's going to be a good guy. Do you give your 5-star freshman offensive tackle a shot, or do you bring in somebody who was playing behind somebody and highly recruited from 2 years ago? I don't know. There's a lot there. And so I would just say this, for the defensive coordinator, Brent Venables knows what he has to do this year. You've got the Jimmies, you've got the Joes, you've got high performers on that defensive side of the ball. If people don't want to come play for that, then that if you're going to go somewhere else, then what are we doing here? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Because each person's different. That's another thing is, it could be us wanting them all that we want, but that last bag is a few $100,000 heavier. So is it a deal to where these guys don't care where they play? And you're just never going to know. You're never going to know on that. And so on the offensive side of the ball, that's where we're trying to do the upkeep more. I think that you got a little bit more grace on the defensive side of the ball right now. And so if you get a defensive coordinator who wants to come in here and definitely just, do some rehabilitation on their name and do some recruiting, come on, because the transfer portal really for whoever the DC is going to be limited activity and until maybe the spring. But like we said, Zach Alley has yet still to recruit anybody to Oklahoma, and I don't think that we're going to get anybody here going forward. So, does someone see that as a good opportunity to come in here and coach the guys that we have on this defense, and start working towards the future? I don't think that the potential hot seat situation is a big deal for a lot of these guys. I think if you come in here and you do your job, I've said it before, you're going to get noticed, you're going to get picked up, you're going to get pulled somewhere else. We're still looking for some of our offensive coaches to potentially head on to better, greener pastures. And, those guys are still going to get jobs somewhere. So there's jobs to be had across, just like there is open roster spots in the transfer portal.
No, I totally agree with that. I'm still heavy on the recruiting. I need a guy to recruit. And I get what everybody's saying is here. I get what everybody's saying in the comment section about, doesn't matter about recruiting if BV loses his job, blah, blah, blah. To me, that's more important, because if BV loses his job, I would like for us to still have good players here. That's just kind of my thought. So if you bring in a new administration, a new regime's going to be a regime change. Kind of want them to have really good players to play with. And our defense has been great, been really good. Like, this defense has moved itself up into what we would expect out of Brent Venables defensively.
Yeah.
We're at the we're moving ourselves into the top 10 of all the advanced metrics around there. We're moving up in the top 30 in all of the total defensive raw numbers. That's what we're looking for. And then next year, when we look at the schedule, we'll do a breakdown, a very early breakdown of the schedule in February. When I get back from vacation, we're going to start that Sunday off right, and we're going to go through and we're going to look at what each team is returning. So I'm actually going to put together my list this month, Coop, of everybody that how many players are coming in from transfers, kind of look at the key players on these schedules. Then we can really talk about what that's going to look like. Because honestly, I mean, we've got, there's about 5, I think you said it was 5 teams with new quarterbacks we're going to be seeing.
6, 7. It was 6 or 7.
It's like 6 or 7.
Counting Michigan. Yeah, it's counting Michigan because I think it's Michigan, Auburn, Texas, Bama, Ole Miss.
Without extended starting experience. That's the point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, you've got a good amount of them. Really, the only ones that we are seeing is, you've got in Missouri. Missouri's another one.
Yep.
So you've got Nussmeier returning and Nico, and that's pretty much the bulk of your returning starters on. And I said going into this year, the reason why I thought that our defense would have a good opportunity is because we're going to be playing a lot of first-time quarterbacks this year. You got Nico early in the year. This year, you're going to have Auburn as your first, showing up. And listen, do you want Jackson Arnold? Let's say that he does kind of get stuff together. Do you think it's going to be that early? Michigan, are they going to go with Underwood, or are they going to put a quarterback battle out there where the highly touted 5-star freshman is going to be competing with other people? We don't know. I mean there's a lot to that, but more and more these rosters are going to continue to shake and shake and shake. And the one thing I'll say, courtesy of our friends down south in Austin, is I think I'm going to be a little less. I was dead wrong, Jay. Dead wrong. Texas turned their defense better this year, and with players that didn't have the ceiling that they had last year. Also on offense, I straight up said I didn't think Golden was going to be anything. I didn't think any other transfer receivers going to do anything. But Golden is maybe the reason why they won this past week. Against Arizona State, the guy went absolutely off. So can these P5 and D2 guys turn into something? Well, I mean, typically if you got production, that's better than hope.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, is you want to see some production to help with that. So, all right, well, speaking of production, I'm kind of feeling good about this defense next year. Again, we talked about that a bit. Mm-hmm. But I want to shout out to our partners over there at BetUS. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit, $2,000. 125% on your second and third by using promo code YouTube150. And if you're into NBA, like me and Coop are, right now the Thunder are favorites to win the West. And I'm hyped about that because I'm a huge Thunder fan. That's my squad, and I think that they can do that. So if you want to get in on the action before, if they lose some games, odds may go up, but hopefully that means that they just, preparing themselves to win it all. But check out BetUS. 150% bonus on the first deposit, 125% bonus on your second and thirds of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150, BetUS, where the game begins. So, Coop, we got somebody returning. And I kind of lost my mind when the video dropped. So, of course, we gon' have to talk about it. Our guy who came on the channel to hang out with us, our guy Kendal Dolby, will be making his return. How'd you feel about seeing him play this video and get everybody hyped for it?
Well, first and foremost, just when it's somebody that we have had on the show, like obviously I've got I've got more love and more respect for that person just because, at this time last year, Kendal Dolby was raking in all of the, internal, team awards on defense. I think he got the grit, the strain. He got like the defensive newcomer of the year. We were really, really bummed against the Tennessee game, when he went out. So, we saw that and we thought that was not good. It didn't look good right from the get-go. So this guy is one that is an absolute glue figure, and this is no knock to Sammy Omosigho because I think that he is probably got a chance to be better. But Kendal Dolby just plays with a ferocity and with an attention to detail that it's hard to see somebody like that get hurt and get their season taken away from him. But dude's coming back. He's coming back. This is a guy who has continued to be really, really good. And I feel like that cheetah position just has been this way year after year with us. That guy is, asked to do a lot in coverage. He's asked to do a lot in run support. He's asked to do a lot in just reading and blitzing. And this guy just had a knack. He reminds me of Eric Shelby, Brandon Shelby, from the days of old, that number 5 would just come in and blitz at the most opportune times. Kendal Dolby's the same way. So very, very excited that Kendal Dolby's coming back.
Me too. I'm stoked. He came on here, my favorite video is him talking about sacks is the one play that he actually prefers getting sacks over interceptions. He thinks that's better for him.
Yeah.
And I agree. But just with his game, man, I am beyond excited about having him back. He felt like a heartbeat on the defense. Like he was one that was very influential to a lot of the players. And you could saw the excitement from the players on him making the announcement of running it back. And yeah, I'm just excited that we're actually getting to see him return. Now he has to get healthy. I don't expect to see him before conference play. I'm gonna be honest. It would be nice, but I don't think we see him until late September. He's got to get that ankle right. But with that recent ruling from the NCAA about JUCO guys, he actually gets an additional year or two. And that additional year or two could help long term, especially in not only playing, but coaching and developing the young players that are going to come behind him. So that cheetah position, like you said, I think it's locked up between him, Reggie Powers the third, Sammy Omosigho. But I can totally see them pushing Sammy more to a real linebacker role. I'm talking to a Mike position, kind of like Kobe McKenzie, because Sammy's faster than him.
Sammy's faster, and he's a little bit bigger. I think Dolby is, 5'10", 5'11", close to 200 pounds.
But he plays so much bigger than that, though. That's the best part.
Definitely does. He knows how to get before the momentum. I was watching, the Baltimore game last night, and the only way to stop Derrick Henry is to get in the backfield and hit him in the legs before he gets going. And I just think that Dolby is one of those guys that knows that, like, if you want to cause chaos, you got to get there early. And so he is early arriver, extraordinaire. And we saw was it the Temple game this past year where he tipped up the interception and Kenai Walker ended up picking it off. Like,
still my favorite play.
You saw him lose his mind.
In the
middle of a big play because he lost that opportunity. And it wasn't stats and it wasn't bonuses and it wasn't anything like that. He just wanted to win. And that's the thing that you want to see with him. So
yeah, he wanted that play. He wanted that play bad. And it's just funny to see that he was just like, he was upset. And so you add him, you get Kendal Dolby. You got Robert Spears Jennings coming back. Dominic has already said he's coming back. We've got one left, Coop. One left that's critical infrastructure for us to understand if he's going to make a value return. It's this guy, our Mason Thomas. So he decided to play and have some fun here. He's throwing out the Grease reference. This is the one we need to figure out. This dude coming back. And how soon is he coming back? Now, for those that understand this Grease 2 reference, Danny, which is that guy, main guy, comes back to school. But we don't have anything official for him saying I'm back.
No,
it would be nice if he would say,
and I think
coming back.
I think RMT. I think it's a done deal. Until it's official, it's not official.
Right.
I think it's a done deal. I think RMT is coming back. Earlier, was it last week? Because I think I still have the deleted tweet.
Yes, I still do.
On my shares too. I think they had the graphic ready to go, and it wasn't time yet, and it was supposed to be for somebody else. And so now he has this one, and so it's all speculation. I think the guy's just kind of having some fun with the with the fan base, and I think he is coming back. Now, if the guy does end up going to the NFL, he deserves it, and I think it's his time to go too. But I think that this might be a little allusion to Danny Stutzman this past year, who decided to come back one final year to school to do some great things. And Danny did some great things for himself. I think he further established himself as a legit linebacker in this in college football. I look for the best from him because I cannot wait to see where he gets drafted. But I think this is one where RMT is probably going to be on his way back to, and which is good because the guy has had leaps and bounds this year, but this is the 1 year that he put it all together on tape. And so there's going to be some questions when he goes to the draft about, putting together more than 1 year. And so if he comes back again, puts together a big year, I think it helps his draft stock. I think, you get him a little bit more maturity. I think he has some more capability of putting on some strength and muscle and weight because, he does need to play a little bit bigger when he gets to the NFL because everybody else is going to be bigger too.
No, yeah, that's 100% true. He's got a lot of, you have to play a little bit bigger, but getting 9 sacks, man, in the SEC in the season is pretty darn good. He had a really good year, right?
He did have a very good year.
And this was the breakout year we were hoping for, like, for real. Like this is what we were looking for. I mean, he starts the year off with the 3 sacks against Tulane. And then the half sack against Tennessee, gets 2 against Auburn, half sack against South Carolina. And then he, gets a little quiet from there, but he gets 1 against Missouri, the critical 1 against Alabama, especially the hit that led to the interception. And he gets a sack against LSU, then picks up a fumble and returns it for a touchdown. Our Mason's been everywhere. And the best part is now teams are going to key on him. And when they key on him, we don't know what that leads to. There's an expectation that the other players are going to be able to step up and be dominant on the other side of the ball. Yeah, he's going to have to lean in heavily on one side, but then you still got Jaden Jackson as well as Dominic Williams in the middle, David Stone rotating in there a lot with Grayson Holton. I'm very much excited about the defensive line.
Yeah.
Next year. And as Topher mentioned here, he's got until the 15th to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, you look at this year, Nick Bonino, as a Broncos fan here, Nick Bonino wraps up his season here today with 2 more sacks against Kansas City to give him 11.5. I believe that he's top 5 in the league. This was a guy who went a little bit early and is starting to put some stuff together. It's at Oklahoma, we haven't seen the bevy of defensive players in the league in quite a long time. Usually anybody we've seen go to the league has been a pleasant surprise, like a Jordan Phillips. Mm-hmm. You start putting a couple more of these guys in there, and maybe next year RMT goes to the draft, along with Dom Williams, and you see some more defensive, game changers from Oklahoma in the league. And I think RMT, like I said, he needs to get a little bit stronger. He needs to continue to work on the fine aspects of the game. And hopefully this year is one where, you see him spread out that and when it's needed, he gets in there and does these things because let's look at it here. The only Broncos fan here. Yeah. Probably so.
Probably so. He really is.
Marvin Mims also had 2 touchdowns today. So, so that's good too. But, here's the thing is like this defense is going to be one of those things to where you're not going to see just one player ball out and then get all the all the accolades. You're going to see a team defense. There's not going to be anybody who's out there just doing one things. And I think that when you look back to those Clemson defenses, seems like every single time something was needed, somebody stepped up, and they had several playmakers who could do that. Well, now we're finally getting to that spot to where you've got multiple guys who can do great things on this team, and so you continue to get more athletic because this is more of the coaching under Brent Venables and this defensive staff. So let's go with this. I think this defense can probably do another great year, and they're going to get better opportunities. They may have less big numbers like sacks, interceptions, stuff like that this year, but I think it could have a chance to be a better defense. Just from the pure talent standpoint.
No, that's a very, very good point, because defensively we finished with how many picks this season? I feel like what's that? 9 picks this year. Kind of interesting. 14 forced fumbles with 12 recovered. So basically 21 turnovers that we took. Not bad. Not bad at all. 35 sacks on the season. Feels like better than last year. I don't know if it is. Let me go see. Let me look now and see what ESPN has for us. Last year, so this year we had 9 picks. Last year we had 20 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, 6 recovered. So we doubled the recovery on fumbles, but going from 24 sacks to 35, that's a freaking big move. So now we just got to wait and see. You say what?
Last year was bad when it came to sack numbers. We were really, really close early and often, but we just couldn't seem to get home. And so this year we capitalize on more of that. Also, I would say this is we didn't have a lot of that. When your offense is as bad as ours was, teams are not going to put the ball in jeopardy. We saw it starting in Tennessee this year. You're just not going to put the ball in jeopardy, and so the interceptions were down because they didn't have to force the ball. They didn't have to throw it downfield. Most of the time, teams were just trying to not make a mistake against us, and to ride it out on the field position game. So you put together a complimentary football team next year, and I think these numbers kind of level out all the way across the board.
Yeah, just don't cause a fumble and then give it right back the next play. I think that typically helps you out a lot, right? And they usually lead to points, especially at the 5-yard line. That usually will help you a lot. But I'll say this, tackles for loss, we did go from 98 tackles for loss last season to 96. So we stayed in the exact area, roughly around 14th in the country. Last year, we were 11th in the country. Consistency there. I call it the Brent Venables stat. The best part is we had two less this season from last year, but we did that in the SEC. Yeah. I need the defense to continue to do what they're doing. I need the offense to please just be competent. And I expect that if Ben can do that next year, just give us a competent offense, you win at least 3 more games. Because that's basically 3 games we lost was because of the offense. So here you go. You have it back.
Well,
being got to do is be competent. Huh?
Just if you're not incapable, things are much easier. And so again, you've seen Arbuckle. Now, will the offense run and hum like it did in the Pac-12 or whatever? Like, I don't expect that. But is it going to be better than our offense? Yes.
I don't know. The last Pac-12, last couple sets of Pac-12 OCs that came into the SEC with good defenses put up some pretty solid numbers. You know who that is?
Last Pac-12. Go ahead.
3 of them.
Okay.
3 of them. Actually, the 3 of them have did really good. Your first one, Lane Kiffin. USC.
Okay.
He came over and did pretty good underneath Saban. Your next one, he's still doing it now, unfortunately. Steve Sarkisian, Washington and USC coach. That's another Pac-12 guy who's an offensive mind.
Yeah.
From there, the next one on that list, Leach. Rest in peace.
True.
It's not unknown. It's not uncommon for dudes on that side to come across the offenses to work. The thing is that it takes a year later. It takes about a year for teams to figure you out. You have to have the defense is what is the saving grace there. If your defense is up to snuff to be able to figure out a lot of the other offenses, you're typically good. That's the thing that I feel like helps us a lot. Defense was really good last season. I'm going to keep reminding y'all that the defense was. They did a lot of the work themselves. Whoa! We have an announcement. Coop, you ready?
Yeah.
We have something up. We got one. Wait for it. I'm going to give it to you guys. Let me see if I can find the graphic. Do we have a graphic? We ain't got a graphic. Where the graphic?
Graphic yet. Don't see a graphic.
No, there's no graphic. That makes me mad. All right. Well, I'll just put this up here like this. We got ourselves a commitment, everybody.
Oh, here you go. I got you.
You got a graphic for me?
I'm sending it in the back channels.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and open this bad boy up now. I'm just going to put this up there from Matt Zenith.
There you go.
Marvin Jones Jr. is expected to transfer to Oklahoma. Chris Hummer and I have learned from CBS Sports. Pete Nakos has also put it out there. And Nakos is saying he's already signed. So the former Georgia/Florida State transfer is in. We got ourselves one, guys. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. Oh,
and he's not from Central Carolina either. So
what? That's disappointing.
That helps out, right? So
that's actually a little bit on the disappointing side.
Yeah. Before our little friend decided to head out to the West Coast, I think that Marvin Jones was a silent commit to Oklahoma before Lincoln Riley bounced, along with Gabe Dindy. So I think both of those guys were soon to be big recruits coming in. This is my take on Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones has underperformed for his 5-star status. He has had motor issues, and he has, he's bounced a little bit, kind of like your Barrett Alexander type of situation, where he's gone looking for the best opportunity for him personally. This right here tells me one thing about Marvin Jones, is that he wants to go be part of a big defense. He wants to go be part of a good defense, and he knows that he's going to come in and he's going to get coached. So what do you get in Marvin Jones? You get a guy who physically has all of the measurables that you want in a defensive end. He is going to show out. This is a guy that, shows up at the combine. He shows up at the combine and the measurables are just silly. So can Brent Venables, Miguel Chavis, whoever else is on this staff, get him to buy in and do the little things? That's the question, because if they do, this guy has the talent, has the physical talent to be something special. If the motor doesn't run, then he has the chance of being something disappointing. And so I gotta just hope that for our staff, they know what's going on. His dad is here in Tulsa.
Hey, man, I'm so disappointed in myself on this. How did I not catch his dad was the coach of the Tulsa Oilers indoor football team? I am mad at me. And I keep up with that stuff. I worked in minor league for technically 16 years now. I still have credentials in the minors. I cannot believe I did not catch that. That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, he's a pretty big deal. And this is a name that probably should have been in Oklahoma Sooner from the get-go. So I'm excited about this. This is great. This shuts down the Western Carolina, Kennesaw State, stuff where everybody, we went from 3-star U to Kennesaw State pipeline. But you need him to come in and do something. Otherwise, it's a lot of money for what?
Right. A lot of money for what? Look. Coop laid it out, but let me add to it. Picking up a player a former 5-star, and Marvin Jones Jr., even with the need of the development, to me, it really helps with the optics of what Oklahoma has been chasing. Like, they've been going after specific players. And I get everybody's upset about the heavy leverage of Kennesaw State guys and all of that jazz. But the one thing I do want to point out is, and this has been my feeling about the portal. Now we jump to the portal. Shout out to our partners over at BetUS. Check them out. Hooking up the gamer, 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. Is this Coop? I truly believe, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we really like our guys at home.
Yeah.
Marvin Jones, to me, feels a small little gap we have with losing 3 guys on the edge while still playing our young dudes. The offensive guys, though, I get why everybody's like, why are we getting so many dudes from Kennesaw State? Even though we got two kickers, a punter and a kicker, which,
yeah,
if you can kick the ball 50-something yards, sure. We got Liam Evans. You really just need an additional backup kicker, someone that's actually willing to come sit on the bench. But Liam Evans can kick it 56 yards. It's his max. But I think a Marvin Jones Jr. helps with optics more than anything. To show that, no, we're willing to. We're just trying to find the dudes that make sense without hindering the development of our current players. Because that's the other thing you got to do, is you still have to also recruit and retain your own guys. That is a part of roster management. Coop, you mentioned this before on the live when we did it all as a family last Thursday on the JP and Trav show. Roster retention is included in any of your transfer portal movement and roster management. You have to keep your own dudes. And the best way to get your dudes to leave is to recruit constantly on top of them.
OU has spent close to $10 million retaining guys like Eli Bowen, Dominic Williams, Jaden Jackson, R. Mason Thomas, Kip Lewis, Peyton Bowen, RSJ. I mean, it just is what it is. And, I think that when the RMT accidental tweet came out, my exact tweet was, you keep one of the best defensive ends from hitting the portal, and it costs money to do that.
Yep.
It is what it is. Now, the dude's on his third team. Somebody mentioned that in the chat. 100% understand. Because I'm a guy who, if Barry Alexander was on his way to Norman to visit, I'd say, no, thank you. No, thank you. Somewhere else, because of who's in front of him. This just adds a breaking case of emergency situation, because on the other side of RMT, you got PJ. PJ still has not really taken that next leap, whether it's health, whether it's understanding, whether it's just the understanding of the football aspect of it. He just hasn't. And so you've got to have a good 2 to 3 deep across the defensive line end to end. And I think that he adds a good amount of that. Now, also, he went to Georgia and he played behind a bunch of dudes. He went to Florida State, and that team is the only thing that can save us from pure psychosis at this point. Is Florida State's the only team that actually was less, what's the word I'm looking for? More disappointing than us. Right. And, he still threw up some okay numbers. And that was in a team that you knew from like week 2 the season was done. And so, can Marvin Jones come in here, see what all is going on around, on the defensive side of the ball, and take it to a different notch? Can guys like RMT, Miguel Chavis, Jaden Jackson, David Stone, Dom Williams, can all these guys really get him and say, like, dude, you could be the difference between us going to a different level and just you're going to be here and, back in the portal next year? Because let's be honest, this guy throws up a pretty good year for us this year. And he goes to the NFL draft, and he's a day 1, day 2 type of a guy, just because the measurables, if he hits that production value. Now, this is up to him. This is absolutely up to him. So this is one to where You got the athlete, you got the raw materials. The coaches are going to do what they're going to do.
Yep.
What is he going to do?
Yep.
And so this is one to where you don't want to take 6 or 7 of these guys, but 1 or 2 of them is not a bad deal.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. And this is a very good point in here. A lot of people's asking if this means that R. Mason Thomas is gone. I mean, he's 6'4", like this. What Marvin Jones is? What 6'4", 6'5"? He was 6'4". What? Let me see. What do they have in here listed? I just have him as a former 5-star. That doesn't help me with anything.
Hold on a second. I'll tell you.
I'm going to pull up his size right now. 6'4", 250 is what he's listed as right now. Number 7. Number 10 edge in the portal, nationally number 101. So at his size, he's more NFL size. He's just got to show the motor and show that he wants it. But he's NFL size. Like, Chavis can get this dude to the league. He's got the size for it. But somebody mentioned, like, why would R. Mason Thomas leave? Nobody wants to play 70 snaps a game at that position. No. What's most important at that position is being in at the critical plays.
Yeah. Showing up when you need a shutdown sack. When it is 3rd and 7, they're driving. I mean, it's exactly what you saw against Tulane.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you saw
against Bama.
Against Bama. You know, it's all right. We need to shut something down. Can you dial it up and just go to town? You know, because you watch guys like TJ Watt, and I'm not doing comparisons here, but you watch guys like TJ Watt, the Bosa brothers, guys like that. Those guys are always just, I mean, Hendrickson for Cincinnati. I saw him ball out. You know, was it Hendrickson that made $500,000 today on incentives, getting sacks? You know, so this dude who
Von Miller did. Von Miller. That was Von Vanilla Miller.
Von Miller also had one too. These guys, I mean, at the end of this season, I mean, it is not snaps that get you bonuses. It is sacks. It is tackles for loss. It is interceptions, turnovers created. Those are the things. And that's what he's going to be asked to do is, hey, listen, when it's your time to go, we need you to set the edge and tackle the quarterback, pressure the quarterback, get them off their spot. And again, with 6 new quarterbacks that you're going to be facing, whether it is first-time starter at the school or freshman or first-time starters in general, these guys are going to need to get settled in. So would you rather face an unproven PJ Adebawore, you know, on 3rd and 7, you know, with Auburn in the house, you know, week 1 SEC, or would you rather have, you know, somebody like this, you know, bearing down on your back?
And that's my point.
And Jay also, I think with his size, he gives you some flexibility on how you line up at the front, because he is a dude who can play a 3-tech or he can play a 4-tech. This is a guy who can line up like a traditional edge, or he's a guy who can go in the 3-3-5 or whatever we want to run. I think that's one of the big things is you're going to want a guy who is going to be able to hold up his own. Can he go up against a guard or a tackle? And you know, can he go up against a double team? Can he hold up 2 blocks while a blitzer comes in? These are the things that he's going to want to answer those questions early and often. And this is a guy who probably vies for a starting position this year.
Yep. And as we all know, he wanted to be a Sooner. Literally, he wanted to be a Sooner in 2021. In November, he's about to commit. You know, the old regime left. He decided to go ahead and go to Georgia. Ended up at Florida State last year, in which that was a bad situation for everybody. And now he came full circle and he's made his return. So we just need one more. I think we do get another edge. Westmoreland, as Topher has made mention here. I do expect to see a lot of Danny Okoye. I expect to see more PJ Adebawore. PJ's got to get that ankle going, man. That ankle's been bothering him for like 2 years. Yeah. He's got to get healthy, stronger, healthier in the ankle. That's it. Once we do that, though, Coop, I think we're great in that room. Who else? And I'm glad this lets us right into the transfer portal conversation, because this is actually where we were going anyway. Thoughts on the room and stuff. This really does change the mindset around this room. This changed the thought of him. But everybody's asking this question. I've seen this a few times in the chat. I'm going to address it now, T. You're one of the many that's asked. Anthony Evans in the transfer portal. Think we should kick the tires on him? I'm going to say it up front. No. I'm no interest. But what you think?
No, I think that between Sategna and what you have with Zion Reagans, like you have that already. You already have the smaller burner type of a guy. Evans was a guy that I think a lot of people, their projections were he needed a few years to kind of mature, and he needed to gain some size. Well, I think that you have that with Reagans. You have that with Sategna.
Josiah Martin.
I don't see us go after him unless it is like hey guys, I made the switcheroo I shouldn't have, and I want to come play with you. I'm taking market value. That would be the only reason why I would say us going after Anthony Evans. If Anthony Evans is going after $1 million with what he has put up on tape, I don't think he's worth that. He's going to have to go out there. Now, I think his speed numbers are going to get a lot of people excited. But, listen, man, as a guy who watches when guys commit elsewhere and they go to other teams, like I pay attention to that. I pay attention to what Anthony Evans has done this year. And it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot last year. I mean, it was minimal production. So this is one of those situations where do you go with a lower division guy who has actually produced, or a higher division guy who has not? And I think that there's still not a big sample size on which one's the best route. But like I said earlier, Texas went to, was it Oregon State and was it UTEP for, smaller wide receivers, and both guys who ended up, really showing out this year. Their receivers outperformed anything I could, potentially think that they were going to. And so that's kind of my hope for Oklahoma this year, is that you go after guys who want to be here, they want to grind, they want to get to that new level, and they want to prove that they can do it at this level.
Exactly. Links in the description below if you want to holler at the Discord. Jonathan asks, it's a pretty good question. You were against the Branch brothers coming to OU. What do you think Georgia's reasons were for going after them? They just lost a lot of wide receivers. And they just lost Anthony Evans. But at the same time, I think it's kind of sweet poetry or even irony there that the biggest complaint that USC fans had about Zachariah Branch was that he dropped a lot of passes. And what was Georgia's problem this season? They led the country in drop passes.
They led the country in drop passes.
Just hear me on that one, Jonathan. That's kind of my and that wasn't the reason why I didn't want Zachariah. My big thing was his brother. Mm-hmm. Who at the safety room do you want to get rid of so Zion can come? Because you're taking Zachariah and Zion together. And I think Georgia did that because they lost another safety in the portal, if I'm correct. So they had a lot of space. Brandon Hall has done a really good job in that safety room, and I don't want to lose Ace. We've got the two young pups coming in. I love Omarion Robinson, as well as Marcus Wimberly, which I think Wimberly can actually move down to safety. To linebacker. That could be ridiculous. Right. You've got Hardy, RP3, and Boganowski right behind Peyton Bowen and Robert Spears Jennings.
Yeah.
And those three guys are pretty tight. And I know RP3 is probably going to play more cheetah than anything. So you have him at cheetah with Hardy and Boganowski playing linebacker behind Peyton Bowen and RSJ. Dog. Like, that right there is 7 safeties. Who else are you getting rid of? Now, I asked that question genuinely. If you can tell me who you want to get rid of, I'm totally here to hear it. But the thing with Branch, you have to take his brother, and I don't think I would take his brother over anybody in our room today. Now, as a returner, sure, but we got Satania, who has returned kicks and punts for touchdowns too at Arkansas. So I think we kind of got that at home. Am I wrong, Coop?
No, I line up with you 100% on that one. It's, Hall has turned the safety room. Again, let's do a PTSD. Patrick Fields, Bookie. Like, these are names that, Justin Broyles, all great Sooner mentality guys, but I mean, let's be honest. Like if we were still playing LSU in the playoff, I mean, they would still be throwing the ball back up over the top of Justin Broyles, to Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and I always forget the other guy. I want to say Mitchell, but I don't think that's right. But like this safety room has gone from an absolute weakness for a decade into an absolute strength. And I just don't think that you toss any of those guys away for a receiver who USC fans, to their own admission, who are very, very honest with Oklahoma fans at this point in time, had more drops than touchdown catches. And, you saw the same thing. Who was you saw as soon as they decided to hit the transfer portal, running back, smaller running back for USC. Oh gosh, I'm going blank right now.
For USC, Raleek Brown,
yeah, another guy who they thought was going to be just the next Reggie Bush-esque type of a guy, who also
he's in Oregon now, right?
Yeah, a lot of those guys have bounced, and I just say this is there's a difference between guys like Raleek Brown and Zachariah Branch and a Deion Burks. There's just thin, slight guys who are burners like Hollywood Brown, and it's just evident from the get-go that he's different. Branch just hasn't been that guy yet. It's still potential, and it's, 3 years now? This is going to be year 3. You're still waiting for that potential to kind of slide out. So I'm okay with this. Listen, this safety room is super strong. I think that you still have some Keon Brown aspirations, who was a wide receiver who was committed to us before and had to end up going the JUCO route, the guys that you already have on campus, and you still have the spring portal. So I think that we're going to hold tight on that.
Yep. No, 100% agree. Tell me what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Love to see what y'all got to hear. Yeah, Lemon, you're right. I kind of wish Bonowski would have got that roughing. I think he'll get that unnecessary this season. First game of the season, probably against Illinois State. I think he's going to play a lot. Think he's going to do some damage there. That'll be a big one. But Marvin Jones Jr. as a pickup to go along with everything else got. I mean, 6'4", 253 pounds. Man, that was for you, Lemon. I'll have another video going out to really break that down. But I love the fact that he's signed. We've got him done. And he was at dinner with Sark today, supposedly, or last night, or or today. Yeah. Because you can't, the NCAA bylaws doesn't allow you to sign while you're at campus. You have to actually leave campus before you can actually sign as a transfer, which is like the dumbest ish in the world, but that's not something that I really care about. But yeah, I didn't see anything. Branch going to Georgia makes sense because they do need wide receivers. And it's quite ironic that their biggest problem was drop passes, and they got a guy that had problems with dropping passes. So we'll see how it works out.
I'll also say, Jay, is at the beginning of that game, and I saw the Georgia faithful tweeted it out, is they showed all the future receivers coming out of the tunnel, the guys who practiced with the team, and there were 3 dudes with them. And you still have that, nice little jump rope activity to where it's like, how do you fold in those type of guys? Your stud 5-star receivers or your high 4-star guys. How do you fold those guys in with a guy who's almost done nothing, and you bring him in like a Zachariah Branch? He's shown flashes. I think they got bigger issues with quarterback because I just be honest with you, if Carson Beck came back, he doesn't scare me a ton without Brock Bowers. He didn't scare me a ton this year. He looked very Quinn Ewers-esque, to where he could do it when it was there, but when it broke down, it was tough. And so, how do you fold those guys in? With us, we've got a situation to where we lost a lot of the receivers, so you don't run that risk of pissing off 5 or 6 dudes who are already on your team. We had a few guys still coming back from injury and a couple younger guys who didn't seem to do much. With Georgia, they're desperate because after this past game, it didn't look good, and it hasn't looked good all season long. And they're going to have a little bit of a reset. And so Georgia fans and Georgia, admin are probably thinking like, let's keep this window from closing.
Right.
We're trying to open a window.
Yep. And if there's one person that I want to get my hands on, I've kind of talked about this a little bit. Let's talk about some potential prospects that are out there. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, rate, review, give us 5. Shout out to BetUS. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. So someone asked in the chat not too long ago when we talk about prospects and who we would like to look for. And let me go find this one really quickly. Shout out to you guys. This is one question. Tight ends. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. To me, Coop, I think we're really trying to focus on McIntyre, Helms, as well as Devon Mitchell. I'm just going to be real. And because those guys are athletic enough to be pushed out to like in the slot, I really don't think we're trying to go after big tight ends right now. I think the spring portal, though, is going to be different. Also remember, there's the other thing to remember, too. All the best players, we still got a whole bunch of good players are going to hit the portal over the next 2 weekends. Keep that in mind. You still got playoff games. Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas, Ohio State. I mean, some Ohio State and Texas players are hitting the portal now. You're going to have more of those. The final ones will hit after their games. They got 5 days. So that's why you're seeing players hitting the portal right now.
Yeah.
But I think tight end wise, I think we're going to focus on our dudes more and just adding bodies for practice, and someone's going to end up hitting the portal in the spring. But Jimmy asked a good question about corners. I want this dude, Coop.
Yeah.
I want this guy. I want Thaddeus Dixon. We missed out on O'Connor. Ethan O'Connor, who ended up going to Miami, and rumor has it the number was massive. Coop, this is who I want. I want Thaddeus Dixon. He's a senior. But if you look down here, he played JUCO for 2 years. So he's got extra years of eligibility. At least one. We don't need anybody that's going to be around for too long. Again, I'm telling you the way that the tea leaves to me are showing, it really looks like we want our guys.
Yeah.
Like we care about our actual players that we're developing, our young players, the ones they've gotten over the last couple of years. They want our dudes to develop. But you still occasionally need a big corner that has experience to be able to help teach. That, to me, is pretty good lockdown. He's good. I like that a lot. I wanted Takario Davis, but it appears Takario's headed home to Washington because Jed Fish is there. Thaddeus is in the portal. I'd spend on this dude. I'd spend on this guy.
He's big.
Good.
He's 6'1" and change, approaching the 200. If you want him up at the 200 route, you can get him up there. What is Gentry Williams doing? Is Gentry Williams going to make another push? Is he going to be healthy? That's somebody we still haven't heard anything out of, which means that either the decision's still in tow or it's already made. It's an obvious situation. This kid he's a big body, and I tell you what, the corner, the corners, a lot of people feel like our corners this year were less than serviceable. I don't really feel that way. I feel like we didn't get tested a lot, and I feel like with more complementary football playing, maybe our corners would have had more testing because you'd been throwing ball a lot earlier and less, short game. This is a guy that I think he's been in college football now for 4 years, between JUCO and playing university ball. A lot of these guys are going to want to go, and a guy like Thaddeus Dixon, he's going to be one guy who wants to come and be seen in a big time defense. He wants to go, and he's going to need some of that to get his name noticed a little bit more, because it's the difference between being an undrafted free agent and maybe being a 5th round guy or a 4th round guy. So but I'm all in for this one right here.
Yeah, he's the one I want. It looks like Miguel Chavis follows him. I don't know how old it is, but I would like Thaddeus. That's who I want. Everybody keeps asking. Yes, Marvin Jones Jr. has committed. Do I need to put that back up on the screen? Do I feel like I need to show that again?
Yeah. Marvin Jones Jr., former 5-star, committed to Georgia year 1, transferred to Florida State this past year. Was a guy who was rumored as a silent commitment before Lincoln Riley left for not LSU. And this is a guy who probably would have been here at this point. And, where's his career at right now if he would have, maybe seen the tea leaves ahead of time and showed up on campus with this defensive staff? Is he a guy that we're waiting on a, return or go to the NFL decision right now? So he's got the pedigree for it, and it's a motor situation. Can this staff get a new motor, get a desire to achieve and to go above and beyond what he is? And, can it be playing for the team?
Yep.
And
on
got
that,
something to play for.
Right. And everybody's asking the question. So far, Gentry is coming back. So you'll have Gentry Williams back. We just got to get him healthy, which he should be healthy now. He's had another cleanup surgery on his shoulder.
After Tennessee week.
After Tennessee. So I know BV said that he was in great spirits and should be good for next season. So we got that. We got a lot of good ones, man.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of good stuff coming, Coop. I am excited on that when it comes to Marvin Jones coming through. I don't think we've had any other commitments as of just now. I'm checking all the notifications to see. Nope. Nothing else has really jumped off the screen yet, so we'll see. But again, my whole theory behind the way that we're getting dudes is we're going after. We like what we got. We like our guys at home, and we want to develop them, make them play. But a pass rush of Marvin Jones Jr. with R. Mason Thomas on 3rd down and 3, 3rd down and 7, 3rd down and 11. It's going to be terrifying in the 4th quarter.
And yeah, I see Kendal Daniels is another name that's out there too. The last thing that I've heard is that his visit went really well. Does he pull it? Kendal Daniels, I will say this. In watching our little brother play, Kendal Daniels for 2 straight years has had an issue with the old missed tackle. And so he is a freak when it comes time to the measurables. He's going to come with, I think, some frustration. Does he learn how to play within the scheme if he comes here? That's going to be up for debate. But there's a dude who he is like a bigger version of Kendal Dolby, and which is fitting with the name. So that's a guy who can play safety, cheetah, linebacker for you. He is a dude who I think will actually just ball out for you. He won't have to be the unicorn on the defense. He can just be another one of them. But I think that right now that when you look at this defense, you want another corner. You would like maybe a depth piece at defensive tackle. That's a luxury situation as of right now. Saying that. You don't have somebody else. Marcus Strong continue to get a little bit bigger and stronger and become a factor, rotational guy this year. Younger guys coming in. I know that Cedric Jones, defensive tackle recruit. Cedric, oh my gosh, my brain this year.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank here.
Our defensive tackle commitment for 25 class.
You talking about Trent Wilson?
Trent Wilson, good God, nowhere near Cedric Trent.
Yeah, you were all over the place, my guy.
Oh my God. That's a guy who came in and decided to participate in some bowl practices too. So he's already starting to get his in his time. So Do you feel good about that? I mean, outside of that, I mean, you literally need maybe another corner and you start feeling pretty rosy. And then that's not saying that, Guillory or Hawkins come in and decide to, do their best Eli Bowen, impersonation and vie for playing time early because Cedric Jones equals Travis Wilson. Yeah. Listen, man,
I know.
so,
That is really true. That's actually pretty darn good. We got 12.
At least I didn't say Cedric Benson. So
yeah, that I had to fault you. I'm sorry. That those are fighting words. 100% fighting words. But 12 guys have committed. We have 12 transfers in, with of course the number one one there with Mateer, 5 wide receivers, and I truly believe that we'll see more of that. We'll see more action in the spring portal as teams figure out what they actually have and what they want, and guys decide if they're going to leave or not. So we'll see. All right. Defensive tackle, I don't know. We may have something. Boom, you asked a pretty solid question. Why do you need Kendal Daniels? Is it in case Kendal Dolby isn't ready? No, Kendal Daniels is more linebacker than Cheetah, but you just need to always have an additional good linebacker. I mean, you just lost Lewis Carter, who was part of rotation.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And Phil Pachotti. So because of that, you probably want to go ahead and grab yourself one more really good linebacker. And Kendal Daniels is really good.
He is.
Yeah, he's really good.
And again, for those who didn't notice, Lewis Carter did go to UCF. There's a lot of reports last year he was homesick, wanted to get closer to home. He's a Florida kid. He went back home to Florida. This was not about NIL. It was not about here. It was just about getting physically closer to Florida. And it just is what it is. Wish the best for him. You saw Dominic Alexander, tweet out, wish that, this was a guy you had the opportunity to be around. So Kendal Daniels takes his spot.
Yep. Oh man. RMT with Danny Okoye. I love this post by Stoya. Shout out to him. This is actually a really good one. We're gonna end on this note with this post because this is actually really, really good stuff. Give me a second to get it all lined up so y'all can actually physically see it because I'm really bad about organizing myself. But look at this. Defensive line of RMT and Okoye on one side, Jackson, Williams, Halton, Stone, MJJ, Adebaware.
It is. And, RMT has produced, Jackson and Williams have produced, Halton has produced, Stone, this is his, second year in the system. Everybody knew that Stone was going to need, some refining because the physical talents are there. So you got 2 of those names right there that if those guys continue to progress in Okoye and PJ Adebaware, yeah, that's scary. I mean, that's listen, it wasn't too many years ago that if I looked at those 8 names right there and I would say, I'll take 2 of them, please. Just 2 of them.
Just 2 of them. But that's freaking stupid that we've got. That's a beautiful lineup. And we've seen them be productive. We saw what Grayson Halton can do. We've seen what Jay Jackson and Dominic's been able to do in causing problems. We've seen R. Mason Thomas. Now we get to see what MJJ, what Adebaware is going to do. We're going to see what Okoye is going to be able to get. Taylor Wine is, to me, your next is your next Ethan Downs. Nigel Smith's going to see more because he's been putting on a lot of weight. He's ready to hit dudes. The rotation is going to be good.
That's what you're looking for.
Yep. Yeah, I think Nigel's going to be a nasty 3-tech. Him, G-Baby, and Stone rotating together. Because you're going to see him. They're going to have to rotate him. They're going to have to give him all some snaps to get him going. So, all right, let's get up out of here. Thank y'all for pulling up. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Rate us, review us, give us 5. Shout out to BetUS. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000. 125% bonus on your second and third by using promo code YouTube150. We will chop it up with each and every one of you later this week. we'll start looking at the rosters, what they look like. Probably do some roster breakdowns and stuff. I know there's a lot of questions in the chat about that. That'll take another hour or two, but we're not going to go that long. Coop's got to go take care of babies. He got to get them ready for school. And
Hey,
I got to feed kids.
so we just see someone. I'm gonna stop you because how about them damn Thunder, Jay? How
Hey!
about the Oklahoma
You know
City
what?
Thunder?
I'm going to do this.
Let's do it.
I'm going to get my pro channel back up and running, and we're going to put together a podcast around everything. We're going to talk Thunder. We'll do that soon. So keep your eyes open. I'm going to get Coop going. We're going to keep that going. Broncos are in the playoffs.
Yep.
My Buccaneers
Do the
are
mile
getting the
high
first rounder. Get your my house salute. My Buccaneers are going to be doing something. Hopefully Baker can get us to a championship game. I don't see it, but we can't possibly. We'll chop it up with each every one of y'all on the flip. I'll make something happen on the pro channel. We're going to make it happen. We're out. Peace.
Yep.